Hey guys, welcome to week 15. I can't believe it's almost over. I hope everybody's enjoying their semester and doing well. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off. I just wanted to say that I touched on everything and I tried to get everything. I'm also trying not to make this 30 minutes long because we are covering 2 chapters and they are very important. So chapter 14 takes us into taking action with our clients. So before we can move into the identifying steps, now that we have created our MAP goals, we must go into further explanation into the problem. So as we need to learn more about the specifics of what's going on with their goals and what problems they may have with it. To do so, we can ask questions like where the problem occurs, when, who is involved, what are the immediate actions and consequences of the problem, and what meanings the client may be attributing to the problem. So next we move from this into asking the clients to identify the action steps that they think will be necessary to achieve a particular goal. When doing so, it is important to involve the client in every step of the process of problem solving, as this will help your client strengthen and also strengthen the working partnership between practitioner and client. After they identify some steps, the practitioner can suggest other steps that may be helpful. So when working with a family or group, it is important that every person has a chance to suggest possible steps or tasks as well. So a good example of this would be from our case study, how Isabella made sure everyone was contributing to how they can help out more, and made sure Charles contributed even though he isn't always around. So I thought that was very interesting, and it really ties in with what we're talking about this week. So it is the practitioner's job to be sure that the many discrete steps are delineated. So if a client says a step is to interview for a job, it would be the practitioner's role to remind them of the steps that lead up to it. So, they may be wanting to get, interview for a job is one of their steps. It's great, but you have to apply and make sure, you're able to get an interview before you can even interview. So another thing that practitioners can do is to ask which steps the clients expect to be particularly difficult, as the practitioner may be able to break it down into smaller steps as well. We can also use exception finding questions to help clients think about ways to solve their problems. An example of these questions would be to ask clients to recall a time when the problem did not occur and to identify what they were doing at that time. This can also help clients identify what strengths that they can be using in the problem solving. The next step would be to evaluate each step to make sure it is possible to achieve, as true brainstorming will include steps that may not be as attainable or possible as other steps could be. They could be more difficult. An example of this would be identifying steps would be with a client if they were discussing a power struggle between herself and her husband, and after the practitioner asked what small step might move her toward a general goal of a positive relationship with her husband. If she were to say, he could always agree with me, they would laugh probably, but it would also be an unrealistic goal, and they would have to continue brainstorming about what they could do next. So after evaluation, the next step is to organize the list to what to work on first, second, and so on. So when planning for achieving these steps, it is important that clients see the value of each step and understand and agree to each of the steps. So it's not just the practitioner taking hold and doing everything. The client needs to be a part of the process. This is easier when working with an individual than a group, as one step may be acceptable to one person but not everyone in the group. It is important to have everyone agree. It is also essential to discuss with clients how they can use their strengths, capabilities, resources to complete each step. You could ask your clients to think about other times when they have faced new tasks. some steps may be too large or too difficult and for the client to handle. So creating them and making them into smaller steps can help the clients achieve them more easily and may even help boost the client's confidence. Next is to monitor progress, which involves evaluating whether the client is satisfied with their progress. If little progress is made, problems may be related to the established goals. So reconsidering whether the practitioner and client could explore what is really motivating, explore whether the goals are attainable or highly valued, as is in the useful practice when this is happening. And it is the focusing on the progress or improvement that has been made is a similar concept as to identifying strengths, which we've talked about in previous chapters. It is also important to emphasize any positive steps, particularly those that the client may not be valuing. So clients sometimes criticize themselves for not doing enough instead of complimenting themselves on stuff they are doing and achieving, even for the very small stuff. It's very important. Because of this, practitioners should invite clients to celebrate each small step. Clients can also be asked to focus on positives, such as, between now and the next time we meet, I want you to find one aspect of your behavior that went really well and that you would like to continue doing, because this can help inspire the client to keep going. There are new skills that are particularly helpful in the action phase: teaching, directing, inviting different perspectives, giving feedback, and using self-disclosures. We will be continuing to use expressing, understanding, and exploring as well, which we've talked about and used and practiced with our written reflections. Teaching helps clients learn new methods, new ways of thinking, new behaviors, and new ways of acting. Some examples of this would be teaching them new ways to communicate in appropriate ways, or finding new ways to discipline their children. Specific methods you can use in teaching clients are to provide information or explaining new ideas, demonstrating and rehearsing or role-playing. The next one, directing, invites clients to try something new or to go in a different direction than they usually go in. Examples of this is asking a client to say I instead of you statements and suggesting a different approach to disciplining their children. So specific methods to bring about this change is by making suggestions, giving homework, and giving direction in the role play. Inviting a different perspective helps clients view their experiences, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, or situations in a new way by sharing another perspective with them. An example of this would be to ask a client to consider her husband's inability to share his feelings as a lack of communication skills instead of a demonstration of his indifference towards his wife. Some specific methods in doing so is to offer an alternative view and to ask questions to help clients consider another perspective. Identifying discrepancies, which wasn't one of the main ones, but it fits in very well with all of this stuff and is very important. It is also very helpful and can invite clients to see or think about something differently. An example of this would be one of the goals we identified is that you will spend time with your AA friends who support the way you live. Help me understand what happened that led you to go to a bar and eventually get drunk. A specific method in approaching this is to point out incongruency between the client's present behavior and his or her broader goals and values. So giving feedback is another important skill that we have to have, and it's because it gives client information that they may not have been aware of. An example of this would be, I noticed that you started talking about seeing your father, you clenched your jaw and made a fist. So specific methods in helping your client in this way is to describe to the client what the practitioner sees and hears, which is, from the example, is a good one, about their nonverbal cues as well as their verbal cues. So a verbal cue would be if they started talking, they sounded more aggressive and, they're not meaning to or whatnot. Immediacy, which is a particular type of feedback, helps clients understand their pattern of interpersonal behavior problems by examining the client's responses to the practitioner, the work process, or the client-practitioner relationship. So examples of this would be the change in a client behavior towards the practitioner and client's pattern of avoiding eye contact with the practitioner. Specific methods are discussing client reactions to the practitioner and making statements about client behavior toward the practitioner. So it would be discussing, like, why aren't you, like, I've noticed you're not making eye contact, like, do you mind if we talk about it or whatnot? I'm sorry I'm rushing through this. I just don't want you guys to be like, oh my god, 20 minutes. But, okay, so the next thing is self-disclosure, and that is the last skill about this chapter, and it is a perspective. It is the sharing of personal information, observations, and opinions with the clients in order to give another perspective. So it is another thing that deals with perspectives a lot, which I've noticed, like, a lot of these deals with perspectives and helping clients realize, like, it's not just, there's more to life than just your view, which I think is very fascinating and cool. So chapter 15, this is our last chapter, is all about evaluating and ending professional relationships. So evaluation is an ongoing process as we do it even before the first meeting. We look over the client's folders and everything to make sure, like, we can help them, and then in our first meeting we identify their problems and effectively make sure we can still help them. And then we also need to be doing this during the exploration stage, because if we're not making sure that we're always helping the client and always doing it to our best, then the client isn't really getting help, and it's kind of a waste. So let's see, I have my paper and I lost my place. So after each meeting, the practitioner should consider whether the work is leading to achievement of the identified goals. So involving or partnering with the clients in the overall evaluation is very essential. Evaluations of what was meaningful and what did not work effectively, what was learned, and what are additional areas for growth. Those are really important, like, questions that the practitioner could be asking themselves, or even a client if they decide to talk to their client face-to-face with the evaluations. There are different ways. You can give them a sheet, a form. You can talk face-to-face. You could email them. There's plenty of ways that you can do it. And one of the things is using a scaling questions are useful for final evaluations with clients, which we talked about in the first chapter with seeing, like, where we fit with the clients in our first meetings. And a goal attainment scaling is an excellent way to monitor and evaluate progress as well. I'm sorry, I'm like losing my voice. Asking clients for feedback about their level of satisfaction with the work and what they identify as being most helpful gives practitioners important information for helping future clients. So relationships end for these relationships and for numerous reasons as well. Some clients know that their time is limited from the beginning because of managed care provider insurance only covers a certain amount of meetings, and some people may only have a certain amount of money that they can spend on it, and it may be running out. Sorry. So, they can also end because the client feels that they have achieved the results and they want to drop out of the helping process. Some may not be able to continue because of more pressing demands, illness, dissatisfaction of services, or moving to a different area. And others may feel that they are not receiving the help, or they are just uncomfortable and they don't want to continue seeing you. But no matter what the reason is, it is always important to follow up when they leave unexpectedly. This gives the practitioner opportunities to ask about clients' decision to leave, to acknowledge rights of clients to withdraw at any time, offer to continue working with them in the future, and to possibly gain some closure on the relationship, which is very important for both sides, and I will be talking about it a little bit later on in this video. Not too much is left. But there are also 6 tasks for ending a meeting. that you need to go through in order to end the relationship in the meetings. So the first task is for the practitioner to indicate that the meeting is about to end. So this could be that they both came to an agreement, the client, it could be for whatever reason. Second, at the end of a meeting, the practitioner provides a summary of what they talked about in that meeting. The practitioner and the client will summarize things like, in the end, they will summarize things like what has been most important, what changes have been made, and what was most difficult, because it really helps, like, the practitioner know what's working and what's not. Third, at the end of the meeting, the practitioner reviews any tasks that the client agreed to complete before the next meeting, as they need to identify what tasks remain to be completed after the relationship has ended. Fourth, at the end of a meeting, the practitioner discusses plans for future meetings. The practitioner can tell the client that they can return for future meetings if needed. So this is if they decide, our relationship has ended, that's okay, like, we don't have any more goals to achieve, but, maybe later on in their lives, they might feel that, they are having difficulties again and do feel like they need to see someone. So this is when, the practitioner can let the client know, like, anytime you need to come back, let me know, and we can just plan it out. So the fifth, at the end of the meeting, the practitioner invites client feedback about the meeting. So they may invite feedback about the entirety of their work, just certain sessions, certain goals, whatever the practitioner may feel is most necessary. And the sixth is, at the end of a meeting, the practitioner asks the client about any final questions, and the task is similar at the end of a professional relationship. So they may ask them, like, are you satisfied with what our work has done? Do you feel like you were listened to? Like, just kind of things that you may ask even before, like, with ending the relationship. The ending of a practitioner-client relationship is a significant event, and some clients feel a sense of loss, sadness, fear, or even anger about the relationship ending. Practitioners should encourage clients to express their feelings and might say, we spent a lot of time during this last meeting talking about your progress during our time together, but we haven't talked about our feelings about ending our relationship. What feelings do you have at this time? And it is important to discuss normal feelings about ending supportive relationships, which again could be like the sense of loss, sadness, fear, because you guys are meeting on a regular basis for so long and working towards this goal and changing your life. And those people do become more than just like a practitioner, they become someone like that. Someone is very involved in your life, and that can be hard sometimes, but that the feelings are normal. Practitioners may also experience emotions at the relationship ends, because again, you're involved in this person's life because you're hearing about it regularly, and you're trying to help them. When appropriate, though, the practitioners may even share their feelings about the end of the relationship. Having the opportunity to share these feelings provides a sense of closure or completeness and opens the door to ending the relationship and saying goodbye. So some examples of statements the practitioner may say is, I'm going to miss seeing you and hearing about your progress. I'm happy that you have achieved your goals, or I can see that you are really excited about the opportunities that your new job is going to provide for you. I'm so glad that you achieved your goal of getting a new job that offers you new opportunities for task groups. Opportunities. So this would be a good one for, like, if someone was moving on and it was because of them getting a new job. For task groups and larger groups, though, the ending process is the same as the process for individuals and families. So a lot of times over the semester, things are different for like groups versus individuals and couples and families. But this is something that is very similar. The best practitioners pursue ongoing professional development through several methods. They develop self-knowledge by participating in personal counseling, reflecting on their own values and ethics in their work with diverse clients, and or participating in lifelong learning to constantly keep abreast of new ideas, programs, and resources. They also develop professionally through effective training in their formal education, through high-quality supervision at training sites, and from peer consultation. So this is something we are going through, and you know, this is the way that we can keep being the best practitioners that we can be. And so like right now we're going through the education, we're learning things, we're peer reviewing, we're next semester, I don't know how many of you guys are doing internships, but I'm going to be doing an internship, so I'll be like supervised at a training site, kind of, because it's like I'll be able to like learn more from that experience, and I'm very excited about that, and I hope that everybody has a great rest of the semester, and good luck on finals.